What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Roy, and welcome back to another Train Rough Tuesday. Today, we're going to be breaking down a little bit further macronutrients, how they work, and how we run things in our program for our members. I get asked a lot, and we'll go over these things, but usually somebody who joins our program actually ends up eating more than what they were eating before, and they're curious, how do I eat more and still lose weight? That doesn't make sense. We're going to kind of break that down today as far as your goals, how to track your food more efficiently and better, and why we do what we do. Of course, if you ever have any questions, you can find my Instagram and my Facebook in the comments below. If you're watching on replay, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions if you ever have any. And please, if you could share this video, it helps us out more than you'll ever know. All right, let's get this thing started. What is going on, friends? Welcome back. Welcome back. We have a very exciting talk tonight. We're going to see if anybody is wanting to talk to me and says hi in the chat. Let's see if anybody does that today. You know, love talking to you guys. Who's going to be the first one in the chat? Just say, hi, Roy. How are you today? What's up, Mandy? How are you today? Y'all, what's up, John? Glad you made it, man. How convenient, you guys. So I love seeing the faces on here today. Some of the questions that a lot of you actually asked me today, is exactly what we're going to be going over in this call, which is, of course, so convenient, right? But it actually works out that way because I've had this talk planned for a while. It kind of builds off of what we talked about last week. But we do these Train Rough Tuesdays based on the problems you guys are having and what questions I can answer to make sure that y'all are all moving in the right direction. So with that being said, we're going to get into this talk today. And the talk today, I have two main goals. One, to explain a little bit more in detail of why we do what we do here at Rough. A lot of you guys who are here with us are doing coaching with me, or you're on our app, and we gave you this nutrition plan, and you're probably trying to figure out, well, why is it this way? What should I focus on first? How does this all work? We're going to explain that. And number two, give you some ideas to better track your food. One of the biggest things that people see is that they start tracking their food and they try to eat more protein, but when they eat more protein, their fats go way too high. Or they try to control their carbs and then all of a sudden their calories are way too low. And it's like, oh, it's this guessing game trying to figure out how to make all this stuff work. And we're going to break that down as well to try to hopefully make this a little easier on you guys as you learn how to track your food a little bit more efficiently. So I did make a PowerPoint for you guys. I'm going to pull it up. Can you guys see it? Thumbs up. Sweet. So we're all talking about planning your nutrition day. And then for those of you guys who are watching this video first, you can always go back to last week's video. We did break down macronutrients, how they work, and why, just as a whole, tracking your food is extremely, extremely important. So getting into this, this is my question for you guys, and you can put it in the chat. If I asked you if you would rather lose weight or burn fat, if you had to choose, which one would you rather? And we can also flip this, right? Some of you guys might be here wanting to gain muscle or gain weight. So the question is, and they go on the same spectrum, lose weight, gain weight, or burn fat, build muscle. Which one would you rather? Seems pretty consistent so far. The answer is burn fat. And I would hope that that would be your answer, okay? Swap fat for muscle, right? Everybody wants to burn fat, build muscle. And the reason why I always bring this up, as convenient as it sounds, or as obvious, I should say, as obvious as it sounds, I bring this up because it's important. Most people who join our program, they want to lose weight and they want to build lean muscle. That's the most common thing I hear. I want to, what John said, swap fat for muscle. But you have to understand that there's a reason why you say you want to lose weight. We associate that weight loss with an outcome, right? And really what that means is when I say I want to lose weight, really I want to look a certain way. I want to burn this fat and I want to feel a certain way. I want my health to be better. I want more energy. I want to be able to play with my kids or have confidence on the beach or want to be in photos, right? There's a reason why you say you want to lose weight. And usually they do correlate, okay? Losing weight and burning fat, usually they correlate, but you have to understand that losing weight isn't hard. If you came to me and said, Roy, I just want to lose weight, sweet. As most of you guys know, if you want to lose weight, all you have to do is eat less. If you step on the scale this morning, right? And let's just say, we'll throw out a number, you weigh 150 pounds, and then you don't eat or drink anything for the rest of the day, and then you weigh yourself again, well, your weight will go down. And if you continue to do that, if you just don't eat for 3 days and you don't drink any water for 3 days, your weight will go down. But is that really what you're going for? Right? Are you really going for weight loss, or are we really trying to burn fat? And so you have to keep this in mind as we try to get you the results that you want, that the end goal is to burn fat and build muscle, not necessarily just to lose weight. Okay. So a keynote here is calories control if we gain or lose weight. And I just gave this point, but you guys have all heard this before. And I made this reference last week. And if I get on social media and there's another nutritionist or dietitian or influencer or gym bro or somebody gets in there and says, well, the reason why you're not losing weight is because you're eating too much, just eat less. I'm just going to I think I'm going to lose it. Right? Because if it was as easy as just eating less, we'd all have already hit our goals. Am I right? You guys have all probably tried that before. You probably all tried just eating less and it didn't work. Okay. But they're not wrong. Calories do control if you gain or lose weight. But again, what's the goal? Is it to lose weight or is it to burn fat? And that's where we have to remember what we're saying and what the end goal is. So the reason why macros are so important is because macros control what type of weight we gain or lose. All right. If you were to lose 10 pounds, and we've seen this happen in keto and intermittent fasting and all these fad diets, right? You start doing it, you cut out this certain food group or you stop eating a certain thing and you lose all this weight. And simply, it's just because there's less food in your stomach. And so the scale goes down. But do you look any different? Probably not. You probably just look like a smaller version of what you already look like. And you definitely probably don't feel any better. You probably don't have any energy because you're not eating enough, right? So, and I also see this quite often, is that people just lose water weight, right? That's not sustainable weight loss. That's not really what you want. So macros are the foods you choose to eat. Okay. If you were just, and this is what we talked about last week, you could literally just track your food. And if you were only doing calories, you can eat 1,500 calories of cookies. You can eat 1,500 calories of cake. You can have 1,500 calories of just beer. It doesn't tell you what you're eating. So macros decides what we're eating, which will ultimately control what kind of weight we gain or lose. So let's talk about these things. Protein, carbs, fats. This is kind of what we broke down last week. We broke down where this energy comes from, how to read a label, all these cool things. Today, I want to explain to you which one of these three is most important and what we focus on first. Anybody want to take a wild guess at which one's most important? I'll give you 100 points if you get it right and you're the first one. Anybody? Anybody going once? Jesse got it. So protein is going to be the most important. And we say this, and I say it again and again and again, and I'll preach it so I'm blue in the face. Protein is king. Protein is most important. Protein will be our primary focus. But I always start this call by contradicting myself just a little bit, because protein, carbs, and fats are all equally important. The reason why we say protein is most important, 2 reasons. One, most of you guys realize that if you're already tracking your food, and I've set goals for you, it's not hard to hit your carbs, and it's really not that hard to hit your fats for most of us. But it's a challenge to hit your protein, and that's usually the thing that's not there. And a lot of you guys are realizing that. Like, I really have to put a lot of thought, effort, and energy into hitting the protein, where it's not really the case with the carbs and the fats. But not only that, but protein has a lot of unique abilities that carbs and fats don't have. And that's what I want to kind of hit home today. So I have this line right here, and this arrow is going down. And the reason why I have this way is because protein has the ability, if you overeat in protein, which really isn't likely, or you're not getting enough carbs in your system, your body actually can go through a process to take protein and turn it into carbs. It has the ability to do that. And we all know that if you eat too many carbs, what does it get stored as? Fat, right? So in a sense, protein can turn into carbs and carbs can turn into fat, right? So technically protein can be turned into fat. And your carbs and your fats are your energy. It wants to burn this. It's really where your body gets those calories from. It's what allows you to move during the day. And if anybody's ever done a low carb diet or keto diet or an Atkins diet, you have that keto flu or that brain fog. Well, it's because you're not getting enough energy, right? And your brain's tired. It's not getting the energy it needs to function and to think. You feel fatigued all the time, right? Your carbs and your fats are your energy. So what's really cool is that your protein can turn into carbs and turn to fat. So your protein can be used as energy. But your carbs and fats, the reason why that line is right there is that you can't take carbs and fats and turn them to protein. It only works one direction. And that's why we say protein is so important. That's why it's key, because it only works in one direction. Protein can become energy, but the energy can't become protein, right? And so that's why we prioritize it. That's why it makes such a big difference when you eat enough of it. And then we talk about the different functions of protein. So I think a lot of people understand that protein is your lean muscle tissue. So it's going to help us, number one here is build, preserve, and repair your muscle tissue. That's the primary function here. That's going to help you burn more calories. If you're burning more calories and building muscle, it's going to help you burn more fat. Number one is the driving factor as you eating more protein is going to help you burn more fat and get the results you want. That's key. That's what we're doing. But a lot of people actually got this question today. They said that even on the days that I'm not working out, do I still need to eat that same amount of protein? I said, absolutely, because you're still recovering. You're still repairing. And if anything, you still want to preserve the muscle that you work so hard to build. So yes, you want to have that protein even on the days that you're not eating, but also it has all these other functions that people don't even realize. How many people have taken a collagen protein powder before? Right? If you haven't taken it, you've probably heard of it before. And I find a lot of women take it because it helps with your hair, skin, and nails, right? But it also helps with your joints, which is super awesome. So I think collagen powder is a great thing, but collagen is just a type of protein specific for your hair, skin, nails, and joints, right? It comes from something. Number three, regulating your hormones and hormone production. Number four, your cell health, function, the protection of your cells. Your cells are the building blocks of literally everything. Your skin, your organs, your eyes, your saliva, like literally anything you could think about that your body produces, makes, or does is the building blocks of cells, and your protein helps with your cell health, function, and protection. It's extremely important. Increasing your metabolism, which ultimately helps how we spend our energy and burning fat and building that lean muscle, and so much more that we're not even covering today, and things that they're still doing research on and that we don't even know, right? So I actually always bring this up. I actually used to have a client, her hair was falling out and she struggled. She was doing all these different shampoos. She was doing she was going to see all these doctors. They had her on all these prescriptions because her hair was falling out and she was just so tired all the time. And she started working with us primarily for weight loss, but we actually ended up having her eat more protein. And she said, Roy, I've been struggling with this for years. And it's just crazy how much better my hair is. It's not falling out anymore. I'm like, that's because protein has all these different functions. And the reason why you're not seeing the results you want usually is because you're not eating enough protein in your diet. Remember, it's not just about eating less. Most of you guys, you're realizing that your carbs and fats haven't changed that much, but all of a sudden you're eating all this more protein. And the question is how am I eating more now, but you expect me to lose weight? Somebody on this call asked me that the other day. They said, man, I'm eating more. How do you want me to lose weight? I guess I gotta trust the process. But again, is the goal to lose weight or is it to burn fat? A lot of you have been trying to eat less for so long that it's messed up your hormones. It's gotten things out of regulation. And so actually eating more and fueling your body the way it wants to be fueled will allow it to burn the fat. Your body doesn't want to just have all this extra fat. It's only doing that because it's in this space where you've told it like, hey, we might need this for some reason because you overate or you weren't eating enough protein or your hormones aren't regulating the right way. So now eating enough protein, eating more, your body says, oh, we're getting all the calories and all the nutrients we need. We can regulate our metabolism and start shifting how your body spends its energy, which is extremely important. So that's kind of the whole idea behind it. Is that's not, for most of you guys, it's not about eating less. It's about eating the right things. All right. So we get into these nutrition labels. So I want to break these two things down. I have one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left is 220 calories. The one on the right is 170 calories. It's very important we know how to read these labels. So when we look at the fat content, on the left, we have 19 grams of fat. You should be able to find that on the label. On the right, we have 7 grams of fat. When we look at carbs, it's more towards the middle. We have 5 grams on the left versus 25 grams on the right. We look at protein, 6 grams on the left, 1 gram on the right. The reason why I share this with you, okay, is because neither one of these things are protein sources. We can look at this and see that the one on the left is a fat source primarily. There is more grams of fat in this than there are carbs and there are protein. On the right, there's more grams of carbs than there are fats or protein. This is extremely important because the one on the left is peanut butter, the one on the right is Oreos, which is my favorite. But I've seen this happen too many times. Somebody will go and they're trying to hit their protein number, right? And they say, well, peanut butter has protein. Let me just eat a bunch of peanut butter to hit my goals. And it doesn't have to be peanut butter. This is just a broad example. But peanut butter, as you can see here, isn't a protein source. If you were to try to get 100 grams of protein from this peanut butter, you're going to be eating 190 grams of fats to make that happen, right? So I think my math's a little off there, but you guys get the point, right? The more protein we eat of peanut butter, we're actually going to be blowing our fats out the water, okay? So the idea here is that neither one of these things is a protein source. When you're looking at the back of your labels and you realize that every time I try to eat more protein, it's making my fats way too high, or it's making my carbs way too high, look at the labels and say, well, is this a protein source? Okay, so when we talk about hitting your macros, right? And this is the game that we're trying to play right now. We're trying to hit the protein, we're trying to hit the carbs, we're trying to hit the fats and the calories to make this all work. A meal versus a snack, okay? The difference between what I define as a meal versus a snack is 20 grams of protein, okay? So I don't care if you have a 1,000 calorie salad with all the green veggies, all the vegetables, the salad dressing, all of it on there, I would consider that to be a snack until we add tuna or grilled chicken or something protein on top of it. Once that salad reaches 20 grams of protein, then I would consider it to be a meal. Okay. So I want you to shift your mindset right now that some of you guys, to be healthy, you have a piece of fruit for a snack, or you have a 100-calorie snack pack because it's low in carbs. But those things aren't protein based. Am I saying that they're healthy or not healthy? No. I was eating Fruity Pebbles earlier. Okay. Is that healthy? Not necessarily, but I had a protein shake with it to turn those Fruity Pebbles into a meal. Makes sense? So that's going to be your first mindset shift here, is that when you're tracking your food, look at every single meal that you're eating, whether it's 1 meal a day, 3 meals a day, or 6 meals a day, and say, am I getting at least 20 grams of protein here? And are the foods I'm eating protein based? All right. Number 2, pre-track versus meal prep. So I think the most common thing for people to do, because it's what's been taught for years and years and years, is on Sunday, you buy all the groceries and you spend all day cooking. And you put all that food in Tupperware and you store it in the fridge, okay? And you eat the same thing every single day. I've been there. That's what I did in college. There's nothing wrong with that. But some of you guys don't like eating the same thing every single day, or worse, you have a family and the family is not going to eat this prepackaged meal all week. And so it's just not convenient for your life. Or my biggest thing is that it was great on Monday and Tuesday, but by Thursday and Friday, the food wasn't fresh anymore. And I just didn't like it. It wasn't the same. So my advice for you guys, if you're trying to hit your macros, is to pre-track instead of meal prep. So today's Tuesday. Tonight, before you go to bed, just think about what you want to eat tomorrow. Do I want cereal for breakfast? Do I want Chick-fil-A for lunch? Do I want to make steak for dinner? Sweet. Go put those things and track it, what you're eating tomorrow. Go do that tonight. And then go look, does this help me reach my goals? Dang, didn't hit my protein. I'm over in carbs and not eating enough fat. Sweet. What do I need to add, take away, or change? Usually it's just changing the portions of things, right? So for example, what I did today, if you're having cereal for breakfast, Maybe you can have a protein shake with that, or a protein bar, or some yogurt, or something to get the protein in there, where you don't have to necessarily change the cereal, but you add something to it to make it a meal. Maybe you're having fried chicken at Chick-fil-A, and maybe instead you do the grilled nuggets. That might help. Or maybe you have to do 2 orders of grilled nuggets instead of 1. That would be higher protein. Maybe the steak you're buying for dinner needs to be a bigger steak to hit your protein. Or maybe the steak you're buying is a fattier steak. The fat content in that steak is really high. Maybe choosing a different style or a different cut or a different leanness of meat would be better. One of the favorite things that you can do, let's say you buy ground turkey. There's different leanness of ground turkey. You can buy 80-20, which is 80% lean, 20% fat. You could buy 90-10, you could buy 93-7, you could buy 95-5, all the way to 99-1. The leaner the meat, the more protein there's going to be and the less fat there's going to be. Right? So for some of you guys, you don't even need to change your portions. You just got to change how lean the meat is, right? Another example is, let's say you eat eggs for breakfast, okay? You do 2 eggs for breakfast and you realize, well, I want to get at least 20 grams of protein here, so I need to eat 3 or 4 eggs to hit my protein goals. Well, you start doing 4 eggs and now your fat is blown up too high. That happens for a lot of people. Well, maybe we do 2 eggs and 2 egg whites, right? So now you're getting the more protein, but you're not getting that yolk in there, which contains a lot of fat. So there's a lot of ways that you can still eat the same things you're eating, but change the portions, add things to it, take away some things to make it fit. But the thing is that the issue a lot of people run into is that you track as you go. You'll eat breakfast and then track it. You'll eat lunch, then track it. You'll have a snack, you'll track it. And then you get to dinner and you're like, dang, I've got 60 grams of protein left. I've already blown all my carbs and I got 1 gram of fat left. What kind of food is that? And you're like ripping your hair out trying to figure out this last meal and make it all work, and it's not gonna work. To where if we just took the time the night before, pre-track, you can eat whatever you want, just pre-track it. And then by the time the day comes, you already know exactly what you need to eat to hit your goals. So that's pre-tracking versus your meal prep. And then lastly, this is gonna be your biggest tip. I want you to focus on calories and protein first. If tracking your food is new to you, okay, you're going to drive yourself crazy at first, trying to figure out your carbs, proteins, and fats, and trying to make it all work, okay? Where realistically, what we talked about in the beginning, if I can go all the way back, okay, your carbs and fats, for the most part, all you need to worry about right now is that they're energy systems, okay? And your body wants to use those things for energy systems. So as long as you're hitting your protein and you're hitting your calories, if you overeat in carbs, that means you're going to be under eating in fats. If you overeat in fats, that means you'll be under eating in carbs. And your body can use those 2 things similarly for energy. Okay. So when you're first getting started, I don't want you to overwhelm yourself trying to figure out protein, carbs, fats, and you're driving yourself crazy, because in the beginning, because protein is so important, because it's very unique, because most of you guys aren't eating enough of it on a regular basis, if you control the calories, which controls if we gain weight or lose weight, and we control the protein, which is going to help with our metabolism, building lean muscle tissue, controlling what kind of weight we're gaining or losing, those 2 things are going to be key in the beginning. We do those 2 things first. Most of the people will get those 2 things in check and start seeing progress, start seeing results, start moving in the right direction. I always give the example of running a marathon. If you came to me and said, Roy, I want to run a marathon, and I said, sweet, let's go run it right now, you'd look at me like I'm crazy. I'd be like, Roy, 1 step at a time. Mate, don't you think we should start walking first, or maybe doing like a 5K first and build up to it? It's no different here. When we set you your nutrition goals, I don't expect you to just change your whole life and just start hitting all these macros perfect. What I expect is like, hey, let's just take this 1 day at a time. What's the thing that we can improve right now? What's the 1 step we can take that would make the biggest impact without driving you crazy trying to change all of these things? And the answer is, well, just calories and protein. Okay. So I always focus protein first. I'll pre-track and just say, hey, at the end of the day, did I hit calories and did I hit protein? And if you do those 2 things, you're setting yourself up for success. And then we just consistently do that. Your next step would be consistency, because it would be easy to do it for 1 day, but can you do it for 2 days in a row? Can you do it 3 days in a row? Can you do it weekdays and weekends? That's usually the one that gets people, is I'm really good Monday through Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you go back to your old habits, you don't hit the protein. So consistency is key, you guys. The biggest thing I can explain here, all right now to leave you with, is that protein helps you build, preserve, and repair your lean muscle tissue. If you are building lean muscle tissue and you end up losing weight, 99% of the time, the weight you're losing is fat, all right? If you're not eating enough protein and you're losing weight, there is a risk that you're losing lean muscle mass as the weight you're losing. And if you lose your muscle tissue, if the weight you lose is muscle tissue, you actually end up slowing down your metabolism. This is the issue a lot of you guys are in. Your metabolism is starting to slow down. It's not just because you're getting older. It's not just because you've been off your diet or working out. It's because your metabolism is slowing down because you haven't been fueling it with the right things. And eating more protein will help pick that back up, okay? So it doesn't look like we have any questions, but I hope that makes sense, okay? I hope this gives you guys some peace of mind. I know some of you were struggling big time trying to figure out these macros and what to eat and how to make all this happen. And you're eating this, it's blowing this out the water. Focus protein calories first. That's our biggest concern. And then we'll worry about those carbs and fats another day, okay? So focus protein calories, that's your first goal. Pre-track your food, and I promise you, you'll start moving in the right direction. As always, if you have any questions, I'm always available. You can shoot me a message if you're inside the Rough app. You can shoot our support a message, shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not too hard to find. John asked best sources of protein. So I wouldn't say there's best sources, but I always preach whole food first, okay? I'm actually going to share, so all of you guys who are watching, if you're not a part of our Rough Family Facebook group, I would recommend joining it. It's RUF Family. And I'm gonna actually share a cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet's gonna say, hey, these are really good protein sources. These are really good carb sources. These are really good fat sources. These kinds of foods are proteins and fats. These kind of foods are protein and carbs. These kinds of foods are carbs and fats. So give you another idea to kind of play around with things and where they're coming from. But I always believe in whole foods first. Chicken, steak, fish, eggs, complete proteins. The only time I would recommend a protein shake is if you're doing something like post-rough after your workouts, because there's a lot of benefits to that. Then we talk about the good things, okay? Whole protein sources like whey protein or protein bars aren't bad. But again, I would rather whole food. And if whole food isn't an option, then those supplements are a great way to supplement your diet, right? So the good, better, best is, or I should say bad, better, best. The bad thing to do is not hit your protein goal. The good thing to do, or the better thing to do, is to say, hey, let me get some protein shakes, some protein bars, or I do the Quest chips. Let me do something that has some kind of protein in here. Maybe it's not a whole food, it's a supplement, but it'll help me hit my protein goals. That's better than doing nothing. And the best thing you can do is whole foods like chicken, steak, fish, eggs, turkey, so on and so forth, okay? And then your post-rough protein shake, a 100% whey isolate after you work out is specifically really good, which we'll talk about in another call. So great question, John. But you guys got to think that our bodies was designed to eat whole foods, right? You got to think 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, they didn't have supplements, right? Our body wasn't, we weren't put on this earth and said, hey, you need a protein shake to lose weight, or you need a fat burner, or you need this, or you need that. It was built, designed to have real food. So always base your stuff around that when possible, okay? Hope that makes sense. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. You guys keep crushing it. Just remember, we don't pray for an easy life. We earn a rough one. Y'all keep earning those cookies, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Later, friends.